to another exciting live stream. I was going to say episode of Mike Goes Live, but it's not really an episode because I guess really it could be episodic. It does have the same name, like MGL for Mike Goes Live. So I could say that it could either be an episode or not. But the one thing that I know for sure is that if you put pineapple on a pizza, that's not a pizza, it's a fruit pie. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. The title of this video is "And the Water Never Stopped," because that's the kind of week that I had. Not that it's been a bad week, it's just been interesting. And it all started before I got the Steam Deck, which is over here. Let me get the Steam Deck really quick because I know that's the new thing that all the kids are talking about. Ow. I hit myself in the headphone and then the headphone hit me in the head. But yes, I got the Steam Deck here. So I didn't know when I was going to get my email for the Steam Deck at all. I knew it was Q3, but I didn't think it was going to be as soon as it was, because I had been checking on Reddit. They had like a tracker estimator thing, and before Valve said they were doubling their shipments, I wasn't really expected to get it till August based on how the shipments were going prior to that. And so I decided to do a fun project that happened to coincide with me getting the Steam Deck, which made me extra busy that week. So the same day that I filmed the Steam Deck unboxing video, I got a bunch of hard drives in the mail because I decided to upgrade my server because it was time. It was time. I was running an old version of FreeNAS, which is already old because it doesn't exist anymore. It's now TrueNAS. So I was running an old version of that, and then I only had 3 terabytes of space. And at the time that I built it, 3 terabytes was off the chain. I was like, ooh, it's so much space. And then of course, like, 10 years later, it's not as off the chain as it once was. But yeah, I basically had 2 3 terabyte drives set up as a mirror, and that's what I ran forever because with FreeNAS, if you wanted to upgrade, you had to redo your whole array. So I'd have to move everything off the server and then redo it. And I wasn't willing to do that. It was just too much work. And I apologize if the stream quality issues. YouTube just gave me a warning. It was like, I'm warning you. This is a new setup as well. Not the setup itself, but on the computer. So if it's trash, I apologize. I don't think I was streaming. It was just too much work. In 1080p before, I think I was doing 720. But this time when I set up OBS, it defaulted to 1080p. I had to set everything back up. That's just another story. But yeah, so I got the server parts the same day as I got the Steam Deck. Like, I was like, I'm going to do the server upgrade. And then all of a sudden I get my Steam Deck email. And I'm like, oh, and they're both here the same day. So literally, I recorded that unboxing video. I don't even think I installed any games on it. Like, I literally put it down, went and unboxed like 5 hard drives. And then ended up redoing the server. So yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Like, it was good that I upgraded my storage, but it was bad. But yeah, I think I ended up buying. So I bought an 8 terabyte drive for the parity drive. Then I got 4 6 terabyte drives, and then I still had the 2 from my old server, the 2 3 terabyte drives. Threw all that together. I'm using Unraid now because one of the things I really wanted was the option to add in drives as I see fit. And so I wanted a software that could do that, and something that was a little bit easier to use than FreeNAS or TrueNAS, which is great. The most user-friendly thing. And I'm not like a server or networking person. That's the one thing that I don't do well. And in fact, the reason that I kind of settled on Unraid. At my last job, we had to hire a networking person because we were having a network issue. It was a DHCP issue that I couldn't figure out. And so we contracted somebody, and he was telling me about Unraid. Because I was like, I have a server, and he's like, oh, yeah, I have Unraid, and it does this. And as soon as he said that he could upgrade his storage without having to redo the whole array, I was like, I'm in. So I actually just officially purchased Unraid today. I was on a free trial, which is another thing that's great about it, that lets you do a free trial. So yeah, I got a whole 30 terabytes of space now. And the main reason I wanted to do that was because I was really running out of space for my YouTube videos. I had a 10 terabyte external drive, which has been full for like almost, it has to be like 6 to 8 months now. Like I ran out of space a while back, and I was like, I just don't want to spend the money to keep using external storage, which is already not great. It's not super reliable, especially if you use it in the way that I was using it. So yeah, it was necessary to kind of get all that stuff to a better storage solution. Plus, we started doing Plex like a year ago, and we weren't doing that before, so we needed room for all of our movies on Plex because we started ripping our Blu-ray collection. And so that was great, but it wasn't great that it coincided with the Steam Deck thing. The reason I say that is because I obviously, originally this week, I was going to do my first week impressions of the Steam Deck, but there was that setback, and then I was still on board to do it. I was like, you know what? I had that little setback. Fine, everything's fine. Everything's fine. So I went through last week, kind of playing around with the Steam Deck a little bit, and I got to Friday, or technically Friday morning / Thursday, because Thursday is my last work day, and then I was like, I'm gonna start working on the video now and everything. I was already working on writing it out. I don't really follow a script for the videos, but I still write them out because it gives me it kind of gives me a focus. Like, it gives me the outline of what I'm going to talk about, and it helps me make sure I don't miss any points. So even though I'm not reading the script verbatim in the video, I don't really even look at it, but just having everything written out really helps me with these type of videos, especially if it's a review. So I already started writing and stuff, and I was like, I'm going to start recording some footage, some B-roll, probably some gameplay and stuff. So I got off work, I went to do a run, and then this is where we ran into the second issue. I went to go take a shower, and everything was fine. I was like, did my little 6 miles and stuff. I didn't run 6 miles. I ran 3 miles and then walked 3 miles. So, I ain't back at that level yet where I can run 6 miles. I've done it before, but it was pre-pandemic, pre-weight gain. And then I got out of the shower, and the water never stopped. Like, I turned the knob, and the water wouldn't stop. And it was the weirdest thing because I've never had that issue before. Like, you might have like the little drip, something where like it starts to drip a little bit, but just full like the hot water too. So it wasn't even like I'm just wasting water. I'm wasting hot water, and we got a really old water heater that doesn't hold that much hot water. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't know what to do in this situation. So that was a whole morning. Like, that was a whole thing that happened. Like, I think it happened around 4 a.m. and I had to finally got it resolved around 7 a.m. because I had to wait till Home Depot opened and go get the part, which is like $55. It's like this plastic piece with a metal part that spins on the end that goes behind the faucet that messed up. I had to YouTube it. So you can pretty much find anything on YouTube. I really hope this audio is not choppy. I just noticed that it looked like it cut out for a second. I think this whole stream might be choppy. You can pretty much find anything on YouTube. It seems okay now. I got to keep an eye on it, though. Now I got to watch it from the corner of my eye. But yeah, that whole thing happened. And then, yeah, it was a massacre. It was a massacre that morning. Then also, we had Prime Day last week, which I don't usually do a video about Prime Day anyway. I do a video about Black Friday, but Prime Day usually is not great. So I usually yeah, so my audio is dropping out. What is going on? This is a disaster. It's a new setup. Like, I'm testing this first time, but that's why I'm going to the Prime Day story. So that happened. I guess this actually happened before Prime Day. So that was it's just been a busy week. This is just me over explaining the busy weeks, but So we had the server upgrade. Oh, and prior to the plumbing thing, the server upgrade didn't go smoothly as I wanted it to. I forgot about that part. So I had the server upgrade. So initially, I thought I was good. I was installing like 8 drives in the computer because I had my parity, and then I had my data drives, and I also had my old 512 gig SSD that I used to use for my Atmos Ninja back when I was recording with my GH4, but since I'm not using it anymore, I just have the SSD laying around, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna add a cache drive in there. So I had 8 altogether, and I had planned everything out beforehand, and then I got all the stuff. Like I even bought like a little, PCI RAID card to add more SATA ports to my board and everything, to my motherboard, because I didn't have enough SATA ports, and I was like, I'm good. And then I got everything, and then I realized my power supply only had 6 SATA connectors, and I didn't want to do the bootleg thing where you get the Molex to SATA. I was like, nope, we ain't doing that. I'm not doing that. So I ended up having to buy a new power supply. So the power supply actually coincided with the plumbing issue. So before the whole plumbing issue, I was working on the server, and I spent like an hour and a half installing a new power supply because things just kept going catastrophically wrong. I don't know why. It was just a day where things just went wrong. And I hooked everything up. I know, like, changing out power supply is relatively easy. Even if you have 8 drives, it's not that difficult, other than like finding room. But yeah, I ended up having to pull everything apart like 2 or 3 times, and like everything was hooked up right. It was like it would start, and then the computer would just like shut down, and then eventually it just worked. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So I had to fight with that before I even did my run. Then did the run, and garbage. As far as the shower, the run was okay, but the shower thing was garbage. So that happened, and prior to that, so I already set myself up this week. There was just a bunch of things going on. Prior to that, we go back to Prime Day. I almost made it out, because most of the time I don't buy anything on Prime Day, but they had the Ryzen 9 5900X for $330 on the second day of Prime Day. Like, I was getting by, like, the first day I think it was like $380 or $350, and I'm like, that's been like $400 for a while, so it's not like a great deal. But then it was $330, and I went to my friends expecting them to responsibly, because I'm not responsible when it comes to buying stuff, responsibly talk me out of it. And they were all like, ooh, I would get that if I hadn't just upgraded, because they both had just upgraded to 5700Xs like a few months ago, and they're like, if I hadn't just upgraded, I would definitely get that. And I was like, oh, come on, I have a 3700X, it's not even that old. But I was like, but I did just get that 3080 12 gig, and that would let me enable that one feature that I keep forgetting the name of, that you have to have a current gen Intel or Ryzen processor and a 30 series GPU, or a current gen Ryzen GPU to use. It's not direct storage. It is, gosh, I always forget what it's called now. But anyway, it's basically the thing that allows you the GPU to, or the CPU to access like the graphics card full memory buffer, and it gives you sometimes, in some cases, up to 5% faster performance. So there was that aspect of it. There's also, of course, the video editing aspect of it, and the fact that I'm doing 4K 10-bit, and my old processor wasn't quite cutting it. Plus, I needed more RAM, so I went ahead and upgraded to 64 gigs of RAM too. And then I did a test edit for my news video on Sunday, and I used up like 56 gigs of the RAM doing the render, and I was like, I guess I needed that for a while. I already knew I was maxing out. I had 32 before I knew I was maxing it out rendering, but I had no idea that I would go up to 50. So that was really interesting. But yeah, the reason that is because after the whole plumbing massacre and the server massacre, then I went into I gotta really reinstall Windows massacre on this computer, because if you caught my live stream back when I first got the 3080, that week I did a live stream because I was like, I'm going to reinstall Windows. It's been years. I've had 3 different processors. This is my 3rd processor, and like 4 different graphics cards in the same Windows install. And I had weird issues, like my graphics driver just crashing in the middle of editing videos. And I know it was software because it was already doing it with my old graphics card It just got worse when I got the 3080. So I knew it wasn't the graphics card. And I just was like, I could have DDU'd the drivers, but at this point, it had been through so much. This installation had been through so much. And Windows 10 is one of those things where you... The audio cut out again. I don't know what's going on today, but... Really? Is there something literally going on with this thing? I think it might be this. Sorry about that. Yes, I think it's something weird with this USB hub. It's ditchy. I shouldn't use this USB hub for for audio purposes. Um, but yeah, Windows 10. What I was saying before my audio messed up is it's something that happens with all versions of Windows, but Windows 10 specifically /11 because I'm actually on 11 now. That's another thing that happened. I upgraded from 10 to 11 after all these intermediate upgrades, and I was like, I need a fresh install. But it takes a lot longer to get like slow and buggy, but definitely doing a bunch of component upgrades. Like at this point, when I upgraded my graphics card to the 3080, I also upgraded my motherboard. So I already got a new motherboard, new graphics card, and then now I got new RAM. I also upgraded my power supply at some point too, but that's not really important. That's not going to affect Windows really. But well, it can, but not like there's no driver, not in the driver way. It can affect stability because of power delivery, but not in the way that it's going to affect the drivers. But yeah, I got a new motherboard when I got the 3080. I forgot about that because I wanted a PCIe Gen 4, so that way I can make sure I was getting the full, performance out of the graphics card. Even though Gen 3 and Gen 4 doesn't make that much of a difference as far as performance. I think it's a few percent, but yeah, upgraded the motherboard, graphics card, and then it became the processor and RAM. So I was like, at this point, I really got to reinstall Windows. I can't keep getting away with like saying I'm going to do it. And so I finally took the plunge this week. So I've been in the process of setting everything back up, which is why this live stream is probably like garbage and there's probably a bunch of stuff cutting out. So I apologize in advance. But yeah, that was everything that was going on behind the scenes here at my tech setup. I think my computer is like 80% set back up. Obviously Premiere was the first thing I reinstalled, and I also had to make sure I didn't have any dependencies for my old external drive, because when I first got it I used to actually edit off of it, and then it just got too slow and I had to move it to my internal SSD and just move the projects over after I was done editing, because it got awful. Any drive when it gets full or gets to that where it's almost full is just going to be awful performance wise. So that got set back up. But yeah, it's a roundabout way of saying that's why there's no Steam Deck review video this week, and that's why I'm doing this live stream instead. And plus, I like to keep you guys updated with what's going on in my life outside of when I do a news video or a review or something. But yeah, that's everything that's been going on. And I don't know. I didn't do a video about the server. I was thinking about doing it when I was building it, but it's so janky. Like, I am using that old cube case. Like, if you watch my really old videos back when I did the Ryzen 2600 or Ryzen 5 2600 video, might be close to 3 years ago at this point. But when I got that processor, now I had that square case because I thought it was a good idea for some reason. That's what my server case is, and it's only got enough room for 3.5-inch drives. So I bought this drive bay that holds 5, and I have a micro ATX motherboard. So there's like this cutout in the front of it, and it's enough that I could sit the drive bay down in there. It's not really attached to anything. It's just sitting on the ground in front of the big fan. But it worked. It worked, and I was like, and then of course, like I said, I didn't have enough SATA slots, so I had to get the little expansion card, and then it's real janky looking on the inside, but it works really well. That's all I'm saying. But I didn't want to do a video about it. Plus, like I said, it's not my forte. I feel like if the video is not going to either be entertaining or helpful, and since servers aren't my forte, I don't feel like I could be particularly helpful with that subject, then I didn't want to really do a video about it, even if it was just to be like, hey, check out this server I built. And then people are gonna be like, it's only 30 terabytes, and I'm gonna start laughing and stuff, and then I'm gonna run away crying. I'm like, I thought I did good. I thought I was upgrading. And that's probably what would happen if I released a video about that. So that's why I decided not to do a server video. But yeah, that's everything that's been going on in my life, of course, aside from the Steam Deck. But this is getting its own video next week, so I don't want to touch too much on it. I will say that if you watch my GPD Win 3, the last video, the 3-month video, I did mention, I was like, I don't know how the Steam Deck is gonna pull me away from that, because it's such a versatile machine with, you know, being able to play games handheld, plus you got the eGPU and all that stuff. I see now how this could pull me away from it. I'm just gonna say that. I don't want to give too much away for the review, but this is a pretty, I will say this is a pretty amazing machine. It was beyond my expectations. Like, far beyond my expectations. I thought the GPD Win 3 tempered my expectations, but this was like, you know, I see it. I see it now. I understand the Steam Deck. The one thing I do want to talk about with Steam Deck, though, is pre-order remorse. So there's just been a few people that I've talked to. If you just, me personally, not like online. I mean, I did see some people on the Reddit, you know, thing being like, I don't know if I'm going to still get the Steam Deck or not. And I think it's just because, like I mentioned in the unboxing video, it was almost a year that some people waited. And then, not saying that's bad. I do like the fact that Valve did the $5 thing, because it made you think, am I serious about getting this? And there was like 2 people that were just like, you know, I was initially excited about it, but now I don't care. I might just like not get it. Audio cut out again. It's terrible. But versus somebody that doesn't, you know. So if they don't want it, then it's good if they give up their spot. But yeah, and then I had another friend that wanted it, but was like, and I told him I got mine, and he's like, oh, how long do you have to pay? Because he hadn't saved up the money for it. And that's another thing. I was like, I think people just are not knowing when to. This audio doesn't stop breaking. To get the Steam Deck, they might not have the money for it anymore. So that's just another thing. I think Valve should have given the option to let you pay the full thing, because that would have made it more convenient. Because like for me, I probably would have just been dipping in like $20 every now and then to pay it off, versus I kind of did the same thing. I got the email and I was like, oh, I got to come up with this money right now. I got 3 days. So yeah, I think there's some challenges around getting it, and I think there's probably a little bit of loss of excitement. But I think the people who really want it, like me, I'm a handheld gamer, and that's like, as weird as it is, considering that I have all these systems and I have a really good PC, my default is always going to be handheld. So for me, I was definitely going to get it. I was excited about it still. I audio. This audio is killing me. It's causing me death. Hold on. Let me see if I can switch USB ports. See if we can fix this. Sorry, my head got big. I accidentally, or something hit the zoom thing on my camera. Oh wow, yeah, I'm watching the replay right now. There's like a whole headphone that's just zoomed in. Um, yes, I apologize for the technical difficulties today. This is the roughest live stream, I think. And I feel like I'm gonna watch it back and I'm gonna be like, boy, I was in the middle of a conversation with myself and nobody's gonna hear it on the replay. But yeah, I think like I said, I think that they should have just given the option to let you pay more if you wanted to. But I think also this was kind of their strategy to weed out people that didn't really want one, if you get what I'm saying, which is good because if you really wanted it, you would have the money saved up for it or have somebody to buy it. If not, then you can always re-roll and get it later if you really want it when it's more readily available, when it's not in such high demand. So I think it seems like a lot of people who really want it are getting it, but it seems like it's kind of lost some excitement outside of the enthusiasts. And I do think it's a specific person that likes handhelds. And maybe it's someone that travels all the time, or maybe it's someone like me who just like I just like being all over the house playing games. That's basically it. If I have to sit in one place and play a game, it's really difficult for me to do that. And I think it's just because when I was a kid, my favorite thing was the Game Boy. Like I had a Nintendo, had a Sega Genesis, but the Game Boy was like my favorite thing to play games on. So that's just continued to my adulthood, which is why I like the PSP so much as well. And of course, the DS and the 3DS, like any handheld, I just gravitate towards. But yeah, let me know if you guys are feeling the Steam Deck remorse or you're tired of waiting. I'm really curious to see where people are at with it. All right. The other thing I want to talk about is the GPD Win 3 now. So I haven't really touched it since I got the Steam Deck. I'm going to be honest. I probably will go back to it. It's a really good device still. I don't take back what I said about it being a good device. But I think, for one, Steam Deck is new, so most of my attention is going to be there. That's how I always am with new stuff. And then on top of that, I'm writing this review, so of course I have to give my full undivided attention to the Steam Deck right now. But even outside of that, there's a part of me that's just really liking. I'm really digging the Steam Deck style. It's a whole style. That's the other thing I'll say. It's a whole style. It's a whole mood. The Steam Deck is a whole mood. This is its own independent thing. It's independent. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's literally 30 minutes of technical difficulties and me probably needing to fix my stream settings before I do the live stream in the future. But I do have a few stories, a few tidbits to go over that I did not cover in the news videos. So let's do this. We're going to go and we're going to start and talk about the E3. So E3 is officially returning. So I did talk about this in a news video when they said that they were returning, but now they actually have a venue. I believe they have a venue, but they're returning to LA next year officially. So they got Reed Pop and they do PAX, New York Comic Con, Star Wars celebrations, other things like that. So they got somebody major coming in. And I guess doing the event for them. So it's exciting. I mean, obviously I'm not going to go to an in-person one, but you know, I really like getting all those press conferences and getting all that news around the same time period. That's what was E3 for me. It was just like this time period where we get this news dump about games. And even if necessarily the company wasn't at E3, then they would still be giving us, you know, something around that time. You know, everyone just came out and they was like, this time for me to show out and fight over the spot in E3. So that's what I missed about the E3 this year. So hopefully, well, not hopefully, it seems like the plans are in place. So they're going to have the in-person. Well, they already said they're going to do a hybrid event, but they already got a company doing the in-person. They're returning. 2023. Has it been 3 years since the last in person? I guess it was. Yeah, I guess it would be 3 years. So wow. Um, yeah, but I'm super excited. Even though I'm not probably not going, it'd be nice to go. I do. That is on my bucket list. But yeah, I'm excited about it coming back. All right. Now our next little touch up story, little brief story. We got Bungie suing another player. So Bungie is suing this player over alleged threats and cheating. So basically, to summon this whole thing up, summon the whole thing. They cheated a bunch of times. They got banned like 13 times. Apparently, Bungie is claiming that they also sold accounts, which is against their rules. And then on top of that, apparently they've been harassing Bungie 2 developers. So Bungie is basically suing them for $150,000 in damages. Which, to that I say, some people might look at it and be like, well, why is Bungie going after this person? And I look at it and I'm like, good, because they don't need to be harassing people online. As someone who's had to work in a bunch of customer facing jobs. I mean, my last few jobs have not been customer facing, like not at least not public, like they've been internal customers. But thankfully, I've been away from that for about, I don't even remember at this point, maybe like 4 years now. But yeah, I've been away from those jobs. I've been dealing with other jobs where we have like internal customers, but they're not like dealing with the general public. But definitely any kind of like role where you're providing a product or supporting that product, they gonna come after you, whether you deserve it or not. And I think this is just Bungie setting an example to say, hey, this is not acceptable behavior in our community. If you come here with that drama, we gonna come back with the lawyers. I wanted to do something that rhymed. It didn't work. But but yeah, I think it was good. I mean, I'm pretty sure this person probably doesn't have $150,000, but it will definitely teach them that, like, hey, don't harass people and cause trouble in the community. So personally, I don't have any empathy for the person. They shouldn't have done what they did. Now they're facing the consequences. And the last thing I want to talk about that's near and dear to my heart. This was actually given to me by my friend Dijon. So I guess on the worst live stream I've ever done, where I have audio issues and separate streaming bandwidth issues that keep causing the stream to cut out, I'm going to promote his book, his latest book, because he did tell me about the story. So The Devil's Chair is a short story on Amazon. It's a LGBT horror themed story. So if you're into that, it's a short story. It's great though. I read it. To be honest, I bought it with my own money. That's how I got this copy. You can get the hardback. You can get the digital. If you want to read it on your Kindle. Dijon, why am I doing a whole ad spot for you? You didn't even tune in for my ridiculously badly timed live stream at 5 a.m. and I got to do a whole ad spot just because you gave me the story. There, boom, Devil's Chair, Amazon, a Dijon McIntyre. There, I did it. Don't ask me to. That was it. Thank you for the story. We used to do a podcast together until somebody moved to LA and they abandoned it. But anyway, so Nintendo has decided to recognize same-sex marriages, even though Japan doesn't. So apparently there was a ruling recently in Japan. They had a case on June 20th where they were deciding if they were going to uphold the ban, and they decided to uphold the ban. So the country still does not recognize same-sex marriage, but apparently Nintendo announced that as of March 2021, the company has had a policy where same-sex partners can enjoy the benefits as employees in opposite-sex marriage. So basically, they're offering benefits to the same benefits that you would get if you were in a hetero relationship, let's say. So that's awesome. I did actually work for a company like that before it was legalized in the U.S. that recognized same-sex relationships, and that is great to have those benefits, because there was a point where I lost my job and I did have to get on my, well, he wasn't husband at the time, but I had to get on his benefits because we couldn't legally get married. But that did happen, and so I personally went through that. And yeah, it would have sucked if he'd worked for a company that didn't allow same-sex couples to get benefits together, because marriage wasn't legal at the time. Then that would have been awful for me. I just wouldn't have any benefits until I found another job, which was like, I think, 4 or 5 months that I was out of a job during that period. So it's great to see Nintendo do that, and the company to take a stand and kind of support their employees even when the government doesn't. And we have our own drama going on right now in the U.S. around some other things that I don't even want to talk about, but similar things have happened where companies have stood up to protect the rights of women to choose, which is great. I don't want to get too far into it because it's a whole another discussion, but yeah, we're still going through it in the U.S. even. So it's good when at least a company will step up and protect their employees. At least gives them more options, where if you don't, you might not have the option because your government might not allow you to. So that's great. It's fantastic for Nintendo. I applaud them for it. I don't want to do it too loud because this microphone's weird. But all right, I am going to go ahead and bring this live stream to a conclusion, because I'm sure that it's partially awful because of the audio and the stream cutting out, and I'm going to have to redo my stream settings. I don't even know why this happened. I didn't have any of these issues before. Before I reformatted my computer, I didn't have any of these issues with streaming. Usually it went pretty smooth. So yeah, I gotta go figure this out. But this is a good test. I will be back on Sunday with my normal news video. Obviously, I'm not gonna be talking about any of those stories, but I do like to some more long form type stories. It's just with the news videos, to me, I like stories that I can just come in, hit with high energy, and just kind of pop through them, kind of get to the point. Whereas these stories, they can be a little bit more nuanced, and I feel like I can kind of insert some more of my personal experiences into it. That's why these live streams are fun. Other stuff. I'm still thinking about, if you caught my last live stream, I might have mentioned it then, but I am thinking about doing a new channel for Apple stuff. I just haven't decided how that's going to look, or what the what do I want to say? The schedule. What the schedule, like how many videos I would do, and if I would have the time to do it. Because to be honest, like, to do these 2 videos every week, well, I'm not even doing a video right now, I'm doing a live stream. It's a struggle sometimes. And like when I have a breakdown, like I did these last few weeks, so not really a breakdown, but like I just had a bunch of stuff just piling on at the same time. It does make it difficult to already do the videos I do now. So I don't know if I don't want to do another channel if I don't have the time to give it the energy, the time and energy like I give this channel. And that wouldn't really be fair to the viewers of that channel. But I still do want to have a place for people who subscribe, maybe because they've seen some Apple content that I did that they liked, and it's not. And since I'm really mainly doing gaming now, it's not really fair, in my opinion at least, to those people. So I do want to do something to figure something else out. I'm also thinking about doing more live streams, and maybe just having, regardless of if I do a Wednesday video, maybe just doing a live stream every Thursday. I've been thinking about that as well, but if I do that, I probably want to do it at a more reasonable time where people could actually watch. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Thank you for probably catching the replay because, again, I stream at unreasonable times and I have a small fan base, and that doesn't add up. And thank you to everybody who watches. Sincerely, thank you for supporting the channel. You guys are awesome. I'm going to get out of here. Remember to always do at least 2 things at the same time as usual. I'm going to hit end stream, and then it's going to do that thing where I have to hit it a second time to actually end the stream. So let's go through the process. End stream. Yes, end it. Bye.